Hello everyone, I'm Mr. T and I run the Building Dreams After School program. Today's project that we're going to be doing is going to be a seahorse. Now if we take a look at our card, the first piece that we're going to want is going to be the largest piece out of all of them. It's going to be this one right here. It'll be the complete body. It does have some intricate parts on it, so just be careful when popping it out. We'll want this piece right here. And one thing that's actually really interesting about a seahorse is it's actually considered a fish, believe it or not. The next two pieces that we'll want will look like two very big comb pieces. Will look kind of like this. On the top side we have 5 kind of teeth, and on the bottom we have this little tab right here. Go ahead and pop out both of these. One is slightly smaller than the other, and that's okay. Once you get both of these pieces out, it'll actually look like these two right here. And what we're going to want to do is this center comb on both of these pieces will actually line up with the back. So we'll put the smaller one in the very top one. So the smaller one of these two, line it up with the center and slide it into the back, just like that. So that's the first one. The larger of those two pieces, line it up with the center and slide it in the back. It will basically look like this right here. In order to make this easier, what we're going to do next is go ahead and pop out the other two pieces of the body. If we look at our board, they're actually right next to each other. One's right here, the other one's right there. We're going to take these two pieces, and if we look at the left side, the one tooth that's right next to the center body, we're actually going to slide that into place. This will actually help us keep everything lined up and keep the pieces from coming out. So again, I put it into the second slot from the outside, so we'll count in 1, 2, and go ahead and line it up. And when you insert it into place, the head should actually line up with the centerpiece of the head right there. So we can see two side by side, it's lined up. And we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So go ahead and grab this piece right here, line it up on the side, and this is going to go into the top 2 notches, 1 and 2, just like that. And we have our first 5 pieces put together. So let's go ahead and look back at our board again, and we're going to want, if you look for the comb piece, it's actually going to be right here. Pieces are going to be the smaller comb piece. We want this round shaped one. This is actually going to go into the bottom and right there. So if you hold your seahorse together and carefully insert it into the back, this will actually make your model a lot more solid. Let's go ahead and pop out the other 2 pieces of the body. This one right there. And again, you'll have several that look very similar. Now we have 2 comb pieces that should look identical to this. This is actually the left and right piece of the body. We have those 3 picks that have 3 holes, 1, 2, and 3. We are going to put those on the left and the right, and they'll actually slide into place. Just like that. in two. So the piece that you want is this one right here. What we're going to do is we're going to put this one into the second notch from the bottom. Just like that. And we have these little gaps on the left and right side. If you take a look, this cardboard's kind of covering up this notch. That's perfectly fine. What we're going to do is when we squeeze in this small tail portion, we're actually going to push the cardboard in. That way it clears a little gap or space. It's going to be a little bit tight, but it should be able to fit in just like this right here. So if I show you from the side, I had to move this side in. I designed this that way this piece wouldn't fall out, but when you insert it from the back, you need to kind of squeeze this little piece of cardboard in just a little bit. That way it can actually fit into place without falling out. I tried to make this to where you wouldn't need any glue. This makes this tail piece extremely tight, and it should be able to line up. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So go ahead and push out your other tail. We have our other tail piece right here. And if we look at the bottom, we can see that cardboard is kind of in the way. We're going to push this piece in just a little bit, just so we can slide this cardboard into place. If you have younger students, this part may be slightly tricky, but once it gets into place, the model will actually stay a lot more secure and won't fall out. Okay, so I have both the left tail into place, the right tail in the center, and you can make a small adjustment just like this. There will be another small piece that looks like this. You notice right above it there's one that kind of goes at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to use this piece right there. This piece will actually go into the upper neck. It's a little tricky getting it in there, and if it makes it easier, we'll do the one in the upper diagonal part of the neck first. That slides up, and then we'll have the one that's horizontally into the neck. One locks in the other. Just like that. Two pieces that look identical to each other, except one is bigger and one is smaller. They look like these kind of little helmet head cap deals. The bigger one of the two is actually going to go on the very top of the head. What you're going to need to do is make sure all three of these pieces are lined up. You're going to give the head a pinch, and you're going to go ahead and slip that on over the top. This actually goes into the lower section. So what you're going to do is you're going to give the tail a pinch, and that's going to go into the very bottom. So I'm pinching the tail right now. You need to squeeze the cardboard to where it will be narrow enough to where you can slip this kind of in the kneecap shin portion of the seahorse, if that makes sense. So I gave it a squeeze just like that. The three come together and it slides right into place. And from there we piece left right here as far as the head goes. And we are going to look for the very, very smallest piece out of all of them. The very smallest piece out of all of them is this very small one right here. That goes where the very bridge of the nose would be. It just slides right into place. And then we have one extremely thin piece. It looks almost kind of like a paper clip or a clothespin. This actually goes into the crown. this one goes in the crown up here, just like that. I'll pull that out so you can see where it went. There's a crown piece right here, just push that down. And then we have this one head cap piece. We're going to squeeze the head together and pull that down over the top. We have these last two pieces that'll be identical. They look like this right here. These actually are the fins of the seahorse. They actually attach onto the back. You'll find two little notches here in the back that these will kind of wedge in between, just like that. They'll be right next to each other, 1 and 2. And now our body of our seahorse is actually done. And then the only thing that'll be left are our 3 pieces for the stand. Go ahead and pop those 3 out. Now this long piece is the center stand, and you'll actually install the other 2 pieces onto this one. Now both sides look very similar. You have a kind of smaller side and a big side. The big side you're actually going to wedge the bigger piece into, and then the smaller side actually has a smaller kind of triangle-esque piece. When you put these 2 together, it makes actually a stand that's slightly bigger on one side than it is on the other, but it will stand on its own. The way that this will work is on the bigger side we have this ledge right here. The back part of the tail needs to fit into this notch. So if I put this down right there, and we look at the back of the tail, the center piece of the tail has a notch on the very bottom. This actually needs to hook into the larger piece. So when we hook it into the larger piece, this should actually stand on its own, and you'll be completely done with your model. I know this had very detailed pieces in the actual panel. As you can see, it's a very nice model when you're done. It can be very tricky. Take your time and you'll be able to complete it. So now that you have your seahorse model together, let's learn a little bit about seahorses.
Seahorses are actually fish, despite having a head that looks like an actual horse. It also swims upright as shown in the picture. It is also covered in bony plates instead of scales. Seahorses can be found in tropical and temperate coastal waters. So far there are 46 species identified that range from 13 millimeters or a half an inch to 35 centimeters, which is 1.1 feet long. It can be very difficult to identify different types of seahorse species just by their appearance. This is due to seahorses changing their shape and color to blend in with their environment. Scientists must use genetic research to properly identify them. Here is a single seahorse hiding next to this coral like Batman. They do this to hide from predators or to hide from their prey. Special structures in their skin called chromatophores give seahorses the power to change color. They also swim very slowly. They are considered the slowest of all the fish species. While they are the slowest of all the fish, they can swim forwards and backwards, up and down. Female seahorse lay eggs. The male carry the eggs in a pouch like kangaroos, called a brood pouch. The eggs stay there for several weeks until they hatch. After gestation, baby seahorses called fry are expelled by the hundreds, if not thousands. The ocean is a dangerous place for small creatures. Fry must take care of themselves after they are born. Seahorse live for about 1 to 5 years. Their predators are crabs, rays, and tuna.
I appreciate everyone watching today. I hope you had a lot of fun making your models, and hopefully today you learned something new. This is Mr. T, and I'll see you next time.